So a lot has changed since we last spoke to a WWE superstar Indi Hartwell, but last month on NXT TV, along with Candice LeRae, she got her hands on the NXT Women's Tag Team titles in a pretty brutal street fight against Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon, which is why we had to chat to her again. Please welcome my guest at this time, the one and only Indi Hartwell, the impressive Indi Hartwell. Welcome back to SEN.
Thank you. Thank you for having me back.
I'll tell you what, first off, it has been about a month or so since you won the Tag Team Championship with Candice in that street fight. So take us through what the feeling was when you finally got your first WWE title.
Well, first off, I have to say that I was extremely scared going into this match. I've never had a street fight before, and I never really done any matches with weapons. But luckily, my tag team partner, Candice, was very well acquainted with weapons. So that was good. Winning the titles, first off, I was just like extremely proud and happy for Candice because she's had an 18-year journey to this title. And for me, it obviously hasn't been that long, but it was an incredibly special moment. And I'm proud to represent Australia in NXT and in WWE.
You know, the street fight wasn't the only shot that you and Candice have had at those titles because you're actually in your first NXT takeover against Shotzi and Ember, and wrestling fans across the world know how high quality those events are. So was there a lot of pressure for your first ever takeover event? Like, oh, geez, it's a takeover. I mean, they're so hyped. The bar is so high. What was that experience like for you?
Yeah, being on takeover was special because I've said this a million times before, but it was Sasha Banks and Bailey from NXT TakeOver Brooklyn that was like the catalyst to me beginning my wrestling journey. So fast forward, like 6 years, I'm wrestling on TakeOver myself for NXT Women's Tag Team title. So it's pretty ridiculous. Pretty ridiculous.
It's actually pretty cool. You talk about that. I remember when Bailey came to Melbourne before Rod Laver Arena, she did like a bit of press, and she actually mentioned, because I brought up that match, and she said, "Oh, the reason I love this match is Indi Hartwell. Do you know where she wrestles for us now? She actually loved that match." So I thought it was cool.
Yeah, she's great.
But speaking of yourself and Candice and Ember and Shotzi, it looks like you guys will probably cross paths again, but it also looks like you've got Dakota and Raquel Gonzalez gunning for your titles as well. Now, you actually have a bit of history with Raquel Gonzalez because you had a brief tag team with her. I think that was one of your first matches. Do you see them as much of a challenge? And Raquel's doing some great stuff now, and obviously a big threat. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I feel like, so when I had my debut in NXT on a live event, I tagged with Raquel, who was Reina Gonzalez back then. And since then, she has changed dramatically. I think she's turned into a mega star, and she's definitely a huge threat within NXT. Like, just look at her. Look at the size of her. Look at the strength. And paired with Dakota, they're definitely huge threats to us. But if we do cross paths with them in the ring, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think we're all looking forward to that one. Now, last time that I spoke to you, I was saying how there's sort of a real sense of unity with you, Austin Theory, Candice LeRae, Johnny Gargano. The Way is such a cool little, it almost seems like a little family outfit there. And you guys have been together for a while now, and you've racked a whole heap of highlights. What's been some of your favorite moments since The Ways sort of formed together?
I've got a lot of favorite moments. I think the first favorite moment I have is when we filmed our Christmas special back in December. Because that was one of my first experiences filming like a Johnny Gargano segment. And I learned a lot from that. And every time we're together, I learn a lot. I've said this before, but like I learned a lot from Johnny and Candice when they don't even realize they're teaching me something. They're just talking, and I'm like a sponge, just taking in everything that they're saying. So yeah, we have a lot of fun, and we really are like a family.
Yeah, that really comes across when you watch you guys on NXT. Speaking of watching you guys on NXT, This might be a bit of a prickly subject, but what is going on with you and Dexter Lumis? Because on NXT this week, that man does not seem right in the head.
Yeah, I think I'm the only person that can't see that. I can't see that he's not right in the head, but I don't know. We'll have to see what pans out over the next few weeks and months.
Yeah, we're definitely keeping a close eye on it. But let's change tracks just a little bit. And in your pre-WWE career, you had a fair bit to do with one of my favorite wrestlers, Steph DeLander. Now, to anyone that's been lucky enough to see you guys as a team on the Aussie scene and even as opponents before you came to the WWE, how exciting is it to have Steph in the WWE right now?
It is a dream come true to have my best friend here in WWE with me. We had talked about this since we first met. We talked about, being in WWE together, and we never thought it would happen. But here we are, and she's had quite a journey getting here. We signed our contracts, I think in the same year, but it took a bit longer for her to get over here. But finally she's here, and I'm happy about it. And hopefully we can wrestle or tag together sometime soon.
She must be pretty stoked that you're there to sort of guide her through. You're almost like the test to sort of get her into Florida. And hey, let me show you around. I'm an old hat at this now.
Yeah, I must admit, she's lucky that I've been able to help her with things here, like getting her license and opening up a bank account, and the stuff that you don't realize is difficult. But being from another country, it's pretty hard. But she had me, and I was happy to help her.
Now, we talk about, being from Australia, and you're like us, you're from Melbourne, and obviously you've got family back here, and we're going through some pretty tough times at the moment. And I spoke to Bronson Reed a while back, and he was saying how long it's been since he's been back home, and I'm sure it's pretty much the same for you. But what's some of the things about Melbourne that you miss? And does having other Aussies like Bronson and Steph and, even Rhea Ripley and Tony Storm and just other familiar faces and familiar accents, does it make it a little bit easier since you've been so far from home?
Yeah, it makes it like a whole lot easier. When I first moved here, I was really lucky I moved into an apartment complex where a lot of the other Aussies lived. So kind of made me feel more at home and made my adjustment to America easier. But like, as you said, like being around Aussies, talking to Aussies makes me feel at home. I feel like it makes my accent come out more. Even talking to you, like that brings a smile to my face. But speaking of Melbourne, obviously I miss my family the most. I haven't seen them since Christmas of 2019 because I wasn't able to go back for this past Christmas. And I miss Hungry Jack's.
Man, we had Bronson talk about how he's missing pies. You're missing Hungry Jack's.
Oh, I miss pies. I miss meat pies. I miss sausage rolls. Yeah.
Only there's a way we could ship them over to you guys. But the thing is, like, you are absolutely killing it in NXT at the moment. And seeing you talk about hearing that Aussie accent. I mean, your little segment on NXT, like interacting with Everrise and Drake Maverick, it was just so funny because we're standing, at least personally for me, I'm standing shouting at the TV like, "You leave our girl alone, damn it! Do you know who you're talking to?" but like I said, you're doing some great stuff in NXT. But if there was a chance to make it to Raw or SmackDown in a draft or something like that, which one would you want to go for? Blue, red, or do you just bleed yellow and just want to stay there?
I feel like I have a lot more to do on NXT. Growing up, SmackDown was my favorite brand. So maybe SmackDown would be the way to go. But as I said, I'm still pretty fresh into my NXT career. So I still need to win the NXT Women's Championship.
Oh, there you go. There's a bit of a warning shot to Raquel Gonzalez there. But speaking of the tag team championships, which you have at the moment, we've seen the WWE Tag Team Champions head to NXT before. I mean, that's how the belts were created. Right now, you got Tamina and Natalia with those titles. Now, I don't know about you, but I reckon the dream match would be the NXT Women's Tag Team Champs versus the WWE Women's Tag Team Champs. Can we make that happen?
I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Unfortunately, I don't make the matches, but I'm definitely all for that.
We need to get like a hashtag or something started. But look, Edie, it has been great to chat to you once again. I mean, it's an absolute real thrill to see you on Fox Hill every week doing your thing. I know I'm not the only one that absolutely misses seeing you live here in Melbourne and just around Australia and in our promotions. But we're proud as hell of everything that you've done and accomplished, and I cannot wait to chat to you next time.
Yeah, thank you so much. I look forward to it.